Hey, it's Zane. Welcome back. Hope you're doing great. Thanks for tuning in wherever you may be. Very gloomy day for me here today on the Gold Coast, but I wanted to get this video out to you. Chili's here. He's in the back today. Hopefully he'll pop up and say hello. But I wanted to share with you in this video 5 key hallmarks of a Bitcoiner mindset. And I want to explain to you why this is important. And I think that as we move forward into this transition, this great wealth transfer, which really is upon us and is only going to escalate from where we are now, I think it's really important for us to keep reinforcing these key principles as Bitcoiners. And, you know, the mindset aspect of Bitcoin is not really spoken about enough, but I really believe that it's the essential first step in being able to stay the course as Bitcoiners so that we can benefit from the two main promises of Bitcoin. Promise number 1 being wealth acceleration, and promise number 2 being wealth preservation and wealth protection. And this really speaks to the number go up technology that Bitcoin is, because it's the world's first fixed and finite asset, meaning that when you have unlimited demand for something that is finite, the value of it is going to escalate beyond the value of everything else. And the other thing is that when we think about Bitcoin as a protocol or a mechanism for protecting our wealth, what it really enables is self-sovereignty. Self-sovereignty. Now, self-sovereignty is really important against the backdrop of everything that is happening around the world, and anybody who's paying attention can see that the direction that the control system, the centralized system, the globalist agenda, whatever you want to call it, we know that they're wanting to create more and more control. People's lives are getting harder, not easier. Yes, there is a small faction of society who are benefiting greatly from all of this inflation, but unfortunately even those people won't be able to escape the tightening centralized control. And so this is why Bitcoin actually is for everybody. It's not just for people who are trying to get ahead financially. It's also for people who have significant wealth, who are awake to the fact that the rules are going to be changed in the central control system. And if all of your assets are exposed to that system, then unfortunately, even though you may not realize it yet, you're going to be caught up in this centralized surveillance control mechanism. And that's a really unfortunate thing, because, you know, I talk to people who, you know, feel that they don't need Bitcoin. They feel that life's good, you know, they've got significant assets, they've built fantastic wealth, but they don't realize that they're missing a really important piece of Bitcoin, and that is the separation of money from state, the decentralization, the ability to be in absolute control of their assets through the self-sovereignty hallmark or attribute that Bitcoin offers. And, you know, I can't emphasize enough how important this is going to be as we move forward. And anybody who thinks that Bitcoin is going to fail, and I know there was a politician, I can't think of exactly which one, in Australia last week, who was unbelievably, announcing that he thought that Bitcoin was a Ponzi scheme, words to that effect. And it just shows how inept the leaders of this country are, how behind, how backward they are. And unfortunately, Australia, as usual, we're going to be last cab off the rank. We're going to be left behind. You know, if you keep your eyes on what's happening in America and the progression since the Trump administration came in, regardless of what you think of Trump, he is a mover, he is a shaker, he is a businessman, he's somebody who understands disruptive technology and where the world is going and what the world needs. He understands free market capitalism, all of these things which unfortunately in our country we seem to have lost touch with. And so I'm spending my time looking at what's going on in America, because at the end of the day, if you're a Bitcoiner and you own Bitcoin, you have a global asset. And so you have to understand that if you can park your economic value and energy in a global decentralized asset, you are light years ahead of everybody else, because you are completely portable, you are sovereign, you have the opportunity to take your wealth anywhere at the drop of a hat. There's no counterparty, and you really need to keep that in mind. So keep your eye on America. Right this week, they had the Global Bitcoin Conference in Las Vegas, Nevada, the biggest conference they've ever had, some 30,000 plus attendees, some of the biggest names in finance and even politicians. J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, he did a keynote there just a couple of days ago. Bitcoin is an idea whose time has come, and so you really need to be paying attention to what's happening in this space, and where this is going. If you care about your financial future, not just creating wealth, but also protecting and preserving your wealth, and being in a system where the rules cannot be changed. And for me, that is the place to be when you're trying to bank your future on an asset class as we're moving forward in this really unstable geopolitical and economic environment. So let me rattle off 5 hallmarks of being a Bitcoiner to wrap up today's video for you. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in this in the comments below. I really appreciate the comments. Some of you guys have some fantastic sharing and insight, and I know that the viewers are getting a lot of value from that, because I can see it in the comments. So please keep it coming. Number 1, as Bitcoiners, we have a hard money ethos, and I've just made a few notes here, so just excuse me for looking down there, but I want to make sure I share with you everything I wanted to today. We have a hard money ethos. This is a mindset. We understand that inflation is theft. Inflation is theft. And if you doubt that, what I'd encourage you to do is go and get your hands on a book written by Lawrence Lepard, L-E-P-A-R-D, called The Big Print. It's a book that I'm about 3/4 of the way through. I downloaded it on Audible before I went to Bali. And so you can get it as an audio book or in hard copy form or on Kindle, on Amazon. But get your hands on Lawrence Lepard's book, The Big Print. That there is a really great way to solidify and reinforce why we're in Bitcoin, because he does a brilliant job in the first half of the book of really articulating the problem of broken money in really simple terms, how we got to where we are, why Bitcoin came in on the back of the global financial crisis, and why it is the solution. So anybody new to Bitcoin, definitely encourage you to start there, get your hands on Lawrence Lepard's book. The other book, of course, is The Bitcoin Standard, written by Saifedean Ammous. If you haven't read that, get your hands on that. So this speaks to inflation being theft. And so I don't want to go too much into this other than to say that Bitcoin is protection from that. Okay, because Bitcoin is inherently deflationary. Bitcoin is the world's first truly global free market. Now, what I mean by that is when you have a monetary system that is fixed and finite and that cannot be corrupted, then any value that you store in it over time, what you notice is that your purchasing power actually gets stronger and stronger and stronger, rather than the debt-based system, in the inflationary system that we live in. What we see over time is that our dollars go shorter and shorter and shorter. They can buy us less and less and less, and we have to work harder and harder and harder just to stay afloat. And that's really the system that we have, whereas over here in Bitcoin, it is the opposite of all of that. So we know inflation is theft and Bitcoin is protection. That's mindset number 1. Mindset number 2 is we understand the importance of sovereignty and self-custody. Sovereignty and self-custody. And, you know, the reality of this is that we trust truth and integrity. We trust mathematics rather than middlemen. And so Bitcoin is mathematics. It's simple mathematics. This is 21 million Bitcoin. There's 100 million fractions of a Bitcoin known as Satoshis. None of this can ever be changed. and we trust the protocol. We know there's a saying in Bitcoin called don't trust, verify. Because as Bitcoiners, particularly when we get to an advanced level where we start, understanding the benefits of, say, running your own node, you're able to actually download an entire copy of the blockchain onto that node, and you're able to have complete visibility over every transaction. And this is really important because you don't need to trust what anybody tells you. You can actually verify the transactions and the movement of Bitcoin and Satoshis for yourself. So we understand the importance of trust, but we want to verify that for ourselves. Whereas in the banking system and in the central control system that we live in, we have to rely on third parties. We have to rely on middlemen. We know that the rules are constantly changing. And, I'm not sure how you feel about that, but for me, that is a problem, because it's really hard to bank your future on a system that is constantly changing the goalposts on you. So we believe in sovereignty and self-custody. Self-custody gives you the opportunity to be your own bank, to take absolute control of your money and your wealth without the need for reliance on any middlemen, counterparty, broker, solicitor, lawyer, any other third party. And Bitcoin gives us that opportunity. Number 3 is we have a low time preference. We have a low time preference. As Bitcoiners, we build for the future. We plan for the future. We strategize for the future. We're always thinking ahead. We're not just thinking in the moment. We understand what it means to delay gratification. And unfortunately, again, this is the opposite of how most of society functions today. Most people are sacrificing the future for the present. They don't know what it means to stay the course, to plan for the future, to delay gratification. Everybody wants what they want now. And this is why, credit card debt is at an all-time high, because people don't want to put things on lay-by and gradually pay it off as they can afford it. They prefer to have the thing now and worry about paying for it later, even if it means paying 20 to 25% in interest. And this is the mindset of society now. Whereas Bitcoiners, we understand that that's a no-win game, a road to nowhere. And what we want to do is start reclaiming the future by delaying gratification, planning, knowing that when we park our economic value in a system that can't change the rules on us, that is mathematically engineered to increase our purchasing power over time, we know we can safely reclaim the future and start planning for it. So we have a low time preference. We're not worried about today. We're thinking about the future. And that's what Bitcoin allows you to reclaim and to start doing again. And this is why I say, younger people who have time on their side, who can understand Bitcoin, they're really going to be able to set themselves up for the future. Forget buying a house. I say to young people, all you need to do is to park your value into Bitcoin. Get to 0.1 Bitcoin. If you can't get there, start at 0.01, which is about $1,000 and just build on that and work your way up to 0.1, which is about $10,000 as quickly as you can. Because if you've got 20 years on your side, that's going to be worth 50 to 60 million bucks in 20 years. If you can just keep your head down, stay the course, that asset is going to set you up for life if you have time on your side. So, but that requires a high time preference. It requires you to be planning for the future once again, which a lot of young people, unfortunately, they don't know how to do that anymore. So it's up to us as their parents to re-educate them on this. Number 4 is skepticism towards fiat and institutions. And what this means is that as Bitcoiners, we know that decentralization beats central control. We believe in freedom money. We believe in sovereignty. We believe that money should not be in the hands of a select few who operate inside a little echo chamber and dictate the policies that impact the quality of our lives. We believe in the people's money. We believe that money is meant to be decentralized. And so with that mindset, we have a skepticism towards the central control system. We have a skepticism towards governments, towards banks, towards central banks. And so the more you move more over towards this decentralized world, the less and less you start or you continue to pay attention to the broken system, because really it just messes with your head. I'd prefer to put all of my time and energy and study and learning into sovereign money, into decentralization, into the future, rather than the past, which we know is a system of broken money. And so you've got to have that healthy skepticism. I say healthy, but it doesn't have to be healthy. It can just be a blunt skepticism towards the debt-based system. Sometimes you have to start with a healthy skepticism, and then very soon you realize that it is out and out a broken money system that is fraudulent, that is corrupt, and that is stealing from people through inflation. But you've got to come to that realization yourself. Now, the fifth and final point I want to make today, in terms of the Bitcoiner mindset, is we understand that Bitcoin is a freedom tool. Bitcoin is the gateway to freedom. It's the gateway to freedom because it is censorship resistant. It doesn't matter what you do, your Bitcoin, if you store it right in self-custody, it cannot be taken from you. And so when you think about, for example, in 2021, 22, I think it was, in Canada, where the trucking convoy who were just simply peacefully protesting against all of the ridiculous draconian mandates and stuff that were getting absolutely out of hand, and people had enough. Same in this country. But we saw in Canada what happened. Their GoFundMe pages were shut down. Some of them had their bank accounts shut and seized. And with Bitcoin, that can't happen. And so it enables free speech. It enables people to, peacefully protest and to do the things that they know they need to do to stand up against tyrannical judgments and tyrannical mandates and all of these kinds of things, which we've seen in the past. In the it wasn't that long ago, in the not too distant past, we could see what can and will and does happen. And whatever you think about that, the reality is that it was a very disruptive time. We know that it can happen again, and in that environment, you just need to make sure that that you understand that Bitcoin is a censorship resistant tool, such that they couldn't shut down your entire financial life like they did for those people who were doing nothing wrong other than simply voicing their disapproval to what was going on, which is their right. So we have a freedom and censorship resistant mindset as well. We understand free speech. We understand the right to privacy. And this is why Bitcoin is so important. So I hope you got some value from that. Just to quickly recap, we have a hard money ethos. We understand that inflation is theft. Number two, we're all about sovereignty and self-custody. We want to be our own bank. We want to be in control of our own financial lives. Number three, we have a low time preference. We understand what it means to reclaim the future, to start planning for the future once again, and the importance of delaying gratification. Number four, we have a healthy skepticism towards institutions, centralized control, and the fiat system, which means that we're all about decentralization. We want to return to sound money. We want the money being back in the hands of the people, not institutions. And number five, we have a freedom mindset, and we don't want to be censored for stuff that we believe in, and Bitcoin enables that as well. So I'm going to leave it there today. Hope you got some value. I appreciate you being here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you need my help, I offer one-on-one Zoom calls. You'll see a link in my show notes. You'll get tremendous value from a session with me. They typically last 45 minutes to an hour. We cover a lot of ground. I get to understand where you're at, where you need help, and I can certainly help you level up on your journey. Other than that, please like, share, and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye for now.